Hi there, welcome back to another one of my videos. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Laura J. Hadley and I welcome you to another episode of Reading Room Repose. As you follow along on this journey of discovery, I really appreciate you being here. Here we are. So today what I want to talk about is one of the big aspects that I am looking into on this journey of discovery, and that is the idea of writing. And I wanted to kind of flesh out a little bit about where that idea came from, why I even have the interest in writing, because as of now I am not a published author. But there's been something in me that has wanted to be for years. So I was thinking about it as I was thinking about making this video about where that idea came from. So I thought I would just share that with you for today. So years ago, when my first son was starting kindergarten or first grade, I did what most people do at the library and got a lot of books about the first day of school. Now, if you have followed along with me so far, you know that I have been a home educator for all of my children for almost 30 years. And so he was obviously going into be, the school year was going to be homeschooled. And I didn't find any books where a child was starting their first day of school as a homeschooler. Often it was, showing pictures of the school bus, the classroom, that sort of thing. If you're a parent or you frequent the library and look at picture books, you can probably think about some that I'm talking about. So I thought to myself then, why don't I write a picture book having to do with the first day of school if you are homeschooled? And I started writing it on a legal pad, and I had the idea that one of my sisters-in-law, who are both artistic, could be the illustrator. And the story focused on a little boy named Miles, and I never did anything with it. So I think I still have that legal pad hiding in my desk somewhere. Maybe something will happen with it. A few years after that, or maybe even right around the same time that he would have been, it would have been around the same time that he would have been in preschool or kindergarten, I was involved in a number of leadership roles with my church, with women's ministry, and with an organization called MOPS, which stands for Mothers of Preschoolers. And I was on the leadership board for that at my local MOPS chapter. What I found was that people put me on a pedestal, or they said things like, I can't have you over to my house because your house is too neat and mine isn't. Or maybe they would comment on my clothes or talk about how well behaved my child was, because he was super well behaved. So I actually had this idea, and I can remember sharing it with my mentor at the time. I think I'm going to write a book called It's Lonely at the Top, so that people can understand that even if you're in a leadership role, you still want friends and you want people to invite you over to their house for lunch. And I'm not going to judge you any more than I want you to judge me by setting me up for this standard that I can't meet. It's not like my house was always completely clean or my child was always well behaved. You know what I mean? So that was an idea that came to me that I never did anything about. Another idea I had when both of my boys were little was just a simple book about nutrition, like feeding your children well, not just thinking that all children need to eat things like hot dogs, macaroni and cheese, chicken nuggets, and fish sticks, and french fries. Although I love french fries, I don't think children need to live on them. So I had that idea. Interestingly, years later, after my third child was born, a new friend of mine told me about a cookbook called Feed Me, I'm Yours. And if we can, we'll put that on the screen, so you might be interested in looking at that cookbook. So obviously it wasn't a new idea. Someone had already thought about the idea, had done it. The reason that I had that idea was, like I said, I was around a lot of people. Those were the things that they were feeding them. They would say things like, oh, my child doesn't like this, so I have to make 2 dinners. Where I came in at the point of view that children's palates will develop and grow as you, the parent, feed them good, healthy food. So that was an idea I had that I never did anything with. Are you seeing a pattern here? In 2011, my good husband gave me a subscription to a magazine, which I actually have one of the issues here to show you. And it is a magazine about homeschooling, but it's called the Old Schoolhouse magazine. And on each cover was a picture of a different old schoolhouse. And then all of the articles had to do with different ways of people helping, giving you resources for your homeschooling journey. And then of course there were a lot of ads. Like here on the back is one for a company called My Father's World. And I think the homeschool curriculum that I ended up landing on, which I'll tell you more about in another video, they had an ad in here too, but I had already found them. So, can you see where I'm going with this? That's right, I had the idea, oh, wouldn't I love to write an article and submit it to this magazine about my homeschooling journey, things that I've learned, things that haven't worked, suggestions I might have, etc., etc. And do you think I did it? No, I didn't have the confidence. I felt like the people who were submitting to this magazine and to any magazine that I've ever picked up and read were way above me in skill and intellect, and why bother? So I didn't. In 2008, I came across the opportunity to train for and run the Chicago Marathon with the organization called World Vision. They had sent an email out saying, would you like to run a marathon and raise money to provide clean water for children and people in, I think it was Uganda. And I had always wanted to run a marathon for years prior, but had never gotten it around my head as to how you actually train for one. I'm not a born athlete. I'm not a natural runner. I just had it in my head that it was a goal I wanted to have. So I decided to, sign up, take the bait, and follow their plan, which was fantastic, and complete the marathon. My husband at the time suggested, why don't you write a blog? You could, just chronicle things that you're learning as you go through this process. I absolutely love the idea, and I even titled it. It was going to be called something like A Mom on the Run. I think that's what it was. Now, did I do it? No. Can you guess why? Lack of confidence. Felt like I didn't have the skill, the ability, that's synonymous, but you know what I mean, to write a blog. I didn't think anyone would be interested in reading anything that I had to say. And then tied to that lack of confidence was feeling like I didn't have the time. It was already a time crunch to try to figure out when to do my training runs. Typically, I got up at 5 a.m. in the morning to go out and do my runs, and I am not a morning person. But I had 3 young children that I was homeschooling, taking care of, so I needed to do my runs early so that I could take care of them, homeschool, cook the meals, clean the house, all the things that a mother normally does. And I just didn't feel like I could take the time. So that was not only a lack of confidence, but also not giving myself permission to at least try. I did in 2000, it was either 2010 or 11. My husband and I did a 10-day juice fast. If you've ever heard of the movie called Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, this gentleman from Australia goes on a journey to cure himself of some ailments and lose weight by doing a juice fast. It's a great documentary. I didn't have any ailments. I wasn't overweight, but I had a friend who was quite a bit older than me, and she was a bit overweight and had some ailments. She was a bit pre-diabetic, and so I thought I would do the juice fast to show her that it could be done, because I cared about her and I wanted her to have the healthiest life that she could have. At that time, my husband had a blog, and he thought it would be neat to blog about our juice fast experience. And he suggested that if I wanted to, I could be the one to write about it. So there was one time where I actually did do that. 10 days worth of blogging about the juice fast, and I really loved it. I thought it was very interesting and creative. It didn't take a ton of time. I didn't have to be the one to set up the blog, learn how to work all of that. It was already there. So that was something that I did actually take the time to do. Now, a number of years ago, when I was having a milestone birthday, and I'm thinking about incorporating some new things into my life, I did have this idea of writing 2 books. One, a book of essays, because at the time I've been reading a couple of books of essays, and I just really love that genre. I love just being able to read its own complete little story essay in the book. And then, it might be tied to other ones, but usually not. I just love that. And so I thought, well, I could write a book of essays. And I actually did start a couple. I think I have maybe 3 or 4 on my computer that are half written. And I also had the idea that I would write a cookbook. Not the same kind that I would have thought about years ago when my boys were young, but just a cookbook that laid out some of my family's favorite recipes and just simple instructions on how to do them. And then that would be a gift for my children as they leave the house. And I would also share some stories about cooking that either maybe they remember or maybe they don't even know. Like there was one time where I had signed up to be a lady leader for a missions trip of teenagers. This was in 1994, and it was just assumed that if you were the lady leader on the team, you were going to be cooking. And I was in a huge group of ladies at the training center, and they said, "Does anybody not cook?" And I was the only one to raise my hand. I felt like that was a good thing. I was honest. But I was actually made fun of a little bit, and people even said things like, "Oh, you're in the wrong place." My point of view was, hey, even though I don't cook, at least I'm willing to do this, right? So I'm willing to grow and learn and be here to serve. Long story short, I do cook now, and I've become a pretty good cook over the years, mainly self-taught. I've got a huge cookbook collection. I adore listening to Milk Street Radio, which if you don't know Milk Street Radio with Christopher Kimball, I highly recommend you give them a listen. We come to the end. None of this has actually come to fruition, which is why I am on this journey of discovery to see if maybe, possibly, any of the ideas that I've ever had about writing might come to pass. As I was thinking about where the idea came from initially, maybe some inspiration I might have had for people in my life who were writers, I came up with 3 people. One, my own mother. She has been a major journaler for most of my life. I mean, I'm guessing she still journals, but I can remember as a child, teenager, junior high mainly, in high school, her always writing in her journal every morning. Now, looking back, would I have liked her to be helping me get ready for school, like making me breakfast? That would have been nice. Packing me lunch. I'm sure she did that sometimes. I think in elementary school she did. But in junior high, I feel like I was on my own. But she was she was definitely always writing. So I always had that in front of me as someone who was writing. And I haven't been a big journaler. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my journey with that in another video. The two other people that have played a role for inspiration would be one of my mother's friends. Her name is Sharon Broyles. And in 1993, she actually became a published author. To my knowledge, up until that time, she had done other writing for the newspaper, the local newspaper. And when she published this book, I remember thinking that was the absolute coolest thing ever. That here, there was this book that I could hold in my hands. You know, it says Strength for Today. And the name of my mother's good friend, Sharon Broyles. And her oldest daughter, I consider my oldest friend. We met when we were in, I think I must have been in first or second grade, and she would have been in kindergarten or something. So anyway, that is an inspiration to me. And secondly, my other inspiration would be my dear grandmother. So my mother's mother, her name is June Cipollanes. She has since passed from this earth, and I miss her dearly. We all do. While she was here, she made an indelible impression on all of us because she was solely and 100% herself and unique. And I could tell you so many stories that would illustrate that. But one of the things that I really admired about her was that later in life, she became a writer. And I feel like she took a writing course at the local community college back when we all lived in Anne Arundel County, Maryland. I feel like she did that. One of my family members, if they watch this, they could dispute that. I don't know. But she took lots of writing courses, I know, into her senior years, like some correspondence courses, some lay speaking courses where then she would also speak. And so this book was self-published. My mom and dad and my sister and another friend of my grandmother's helped to put it all together. And these are some stories and some poems that were written by her. And here's a photograph of her. One of my favorite photographs. I hope you can see it. So I thought I would just end this little time of reminiscing and talking about writing by reading one of her stories, which means a lot to me because it's become a part of my history. When I was in junior high, where I lived, and at the time that I was in junior high, this changed actually when I got into high school, but when I was there, the junior high was 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, and the high school was 10th, 11th, 12th. Like I said, I think by the time I was a senior, they had moved the 9th graders into the high school. But that to say, when I was in 9th grade, the end of 9th grade, so still in junior high, I wanted to audition for something called Summer School for the Performing Arts. And it was something that you had to audition for and be accepted. Not just anybody could go. But once you were accepted, then throughout the summer, you would go to a local high school, and there would be an instructor for instrumental music, if that was your major, acting, dance, and singing. And so whatever your major was, you did that for 3 hours in the morning, and then lunch, and then the afternoon was about 45 minutes to an hour in each of the other 3 things. I absolutely loved it. I made some really good friends. And what I ended up using for my audition piece was one of my grandmother's stories. So if you will humor me, I will read you this story that I just love it. It means a lot to me. It's called Tuesday's Ice Cream. I don't like Tuesday. I hate Tuesday, and I hate ice cream, and I don't like Mommy neither. Well, maybe I like her a little bit, but Mommy shouldn't take little kids like me to no doctors. Maybe if I sit very, very still, they'll forget I'm here. Maybe even I'll disappear. I could hold my breath and shut my eyes and go way, way away. Nah, I'd just turn blue and Mommy'd see me and holler her head off. Boy, I ought to tell that dumb old doctor to give her some hollering pills. If I was a doctor, I'd have hollering pills and I'd give them to all the kids and they'd give them to all the mommies and all the daddies. Every morning we'd say, take your hollering pill. Then they couldn't holler all day. Yeah. Look at that dumb old boy talking to everybody. I don't care. I'm not going to talk to him. I'm going to talk to nobody. I don't have to. I'm not even going to look at his yucky coloring book. I wish he'd go away. Now Mommy's talking to him. I bet she likes him better than me, just 'cause he's a dumb old boy. She likes boys, I know it. I don't like boys. I'm never gonna like boys neither. Never, never. I wonder where all the people go when they go in that blue door. Maybe that's the needle room. I bet they got 1,050,000 needles in there. Maybe they got one of them picture machines that sees your bones and everything. I could be on television. Then they'd make my picture every day and I wouldn't go to school and I'd have a whole big bunch of money, maybe over $40, and I'd get to be the boss of the whole wide world. Yeah. I take it back. I don't want to be boss. I'm a queen now. I got a crown and everything. Okay, now this is my rule. Nobody can make shoes that tie up. All the shoes are no tying. Be still, be quiet, tie your shoes, sit up, look at your book, don't kick the chair. That's all she can say. If I was a mommy, I wouldn't say them things and I wouldn't take nobody to no doctor, except when they break their leg or something. All the doctors always say, hold your head up, open your mouth, breathe deep, look at my finger. Why don't he let the nurse do that stuff? She's nice. She gives me lollipops and she smells good. I like grape lollipops and I like bubble gum. If she gives me bubble gum, I'm gonna chew and blow a giant bubble. Then I'll float up to the clouds. Clouds are soft, nice and soft like Grandma. I like to sit on a cloud like I sit on Grandma. Boy, I'm glad that Billy Goat boy is going someplace. He talks too much and he sounds like a billy goat. I wonder if Mommy is going to buy me ice cream today. She always does it when she's going to take me back to the hospital. She better not. I don't like ice cream no more. If we go there, I'm going to say no. No, Mommy. No ice cream. Never, never, never. So there you go. Well, if you've hung on until this long, and yes, I stole that from Linda Vater also, here's your outfit of the day. Now here's something before I get into it that I was thinking of earlier, which is that before I launched this YouTube channel, I had made a number of videos in advance. And so now that I'm about to tell you about this outfit of the day, which is clearly winter wear and there's snow behind me, I can only hope that by the time we're ready to launch this video and publish it, it's not springtime or summertime, because then you would feel really weird looking at someone all bundled up in a sweater, wouldn't you? So that's an aside. Here is your outfit of the day. I am wearing this cozy, oversized sweater that the tag is super interesting, and you know how I love tags. It says something like Spastik Official Sportswear. I got this at a vintage, oh wait, here's a tag. I got this at a vintage store that I think I've mentioned before called Wilson Ross. Wilson Ross. That used to be in Lewisburg, Pennsylvania, but it's no longer there. So I got this years ago for that. What I love about it is the interesting clasps and the fact that it looks Scandinavian. I just have it layered over an old gray t-shirt or turtleneck that's from the Gap. And I think if you add any kind of silk scarf to any ensemble, it just zhuzhes it up a bit. My earrings are handmade by my lovely daughter. And I'm wearing my thrifted Gap jeans, which I think I've shown you before, and these boots, which I adore. If you know anything about Chacos, typically people know them for their sandals. These are Chaco boots. I love the way the toe looks, and obviously just like a Chaco sandal would be super comfortable. The soles in these are really comfortable, so I could wear them forever and a day. And then I just threw on this interesting ring, which is a little bit dressy for the day, but why not? Why not zhuzh it up? So there you go. my outfit of the day. Thank you so much for joining me. And if you are new to my channel, you might want to go back and watch a few of the beginning videos so you can see and learn and hear a little bit about my journey and where it all started and what I've done so far. And if you want to continue on and follow me with this journey of discovery, then I hope to see you back next Tuesday. You take care.